This is just a breakdown of communication. Obviously, that's really
okay,
nice,
you know
Miranda.
what? Don't try to make me feel bad about any of this. When, according to you, I'm, what was it, Ned? Hideously ugly.
What?
So, yeah.
I didn't say that. Miranda, I would never say that about you.
He just so didn't say that about you.
Thank you. Please tell her I didn't say that, Ned.
He said that your personality gets in the way of your looks. Your very good looks.
Dude, do you have Tourette's?
The great nature versus nurture debate rages on, with both sides periodically gaining or losing ground based on whatever new study's been released. The new comedy Our Idiot Brother wades into this discussion with the question, are hippies born or are they made? If you look at the siblings at the center of Our Idiot Brother, the answer is clearly the latter. Paul Rudd plays Ned, a long-haired, trusting, perpetually positive biodynamic farmer who finds himself in jail after selling marijuana to a uniformed cop. After being released and unable to move back to the farm where he lived with his girlfriend, Ned decides to accept the somewhat insincere invitations of his three sisters and comes to stay with them in New York until he figures out what to do next. Through Ned's sisters, it becomes obvious that Ned's blissful, relaxed attitude is not a product of genetics or childhood indoctrination. Liz, played by Emily Mortimer, is a tense, overprotective mother who absorbs the dismissive, passive-aggressive barbs of her snooty documentarian husband, played by Steve Coogan. Elizabeth Banks plays Miranda, a harsh, ambitious writer for Vanity Fair who's willing to use dodgy tactics to land a big story. The youngest of the siblings is Natalie, played by Zooey Deschanel, a bisexual bohemian type who's trying to get her act together as she lives with a pack of roommates and her lawyer girlfriend, played by Rashida Jones. One of the more enjoyable things about Our Idiot Brother is its reluctance to paint its characters as one-note caricatures. Ned's sisters are not bad or horribly screwed up. They've simply drifted apart from each other, as many of us do, as they've become more absorbed with the duties, drama, and goals of their adult lives. The easiest thing to do with a character like Ned would be to paint him as some sort of noble fool akin to Forrest Gump, a character whose childlike cluelessness and decreased mental capacity were disturbingly portrayed as a source of profound, simplistic wisdom. While Forrest was born that way, what makes Ned interesting is that his sunny view of humanity and his unfailing sincerity are not from genetics or upbringing, but are the results of conscious decisions. For whatever reason, Ned has chosen to live his life by a philosophy that requires him to be as honest, generous, and open as he can, while choosing to always see the best in people. And as you might guess, it's not easy, especially when Ned's willingness to listen and his lack of judgment makes him a depository for everyone's secrets. And we watch as Ned and his family struggle with the consequences of his beliefs. Our Idiot Brother is nicely shot, avoiding the bright sitcom lighting common in most comedies. The acting is great across the board, particularly the strong supporting cast of Jones, Coogan, TJ Miller as an agreeable hippie, and Sterling Brown as Ned's parole officer. But this is really Rudd's film, which has found a terrific way to use and expand on the non-threatening niceness that often gets Rudd cast as a straight man. Despite its ad campaign, Our Idiot Brother is not about how much better the world would be if we were all like Ned. It's more about how we should never become so self-involved that we're unwilling to be even briefly inconvenienced by a family member in need, especially one as well-meaning as Ned. That may not be a groundbreaking concept, but Our Idiot Brother is simply a small, light, crowd-pleasing comedy that isn't trying to change the world, but has a lot of laughs, heart, and great performances, and there's nothing idiotic about that. So I gave Our Idiot Brother a rating of 8.2. I'm Jonathan Kim for What the Flick, and be sure to check out my new movie review and political show Rethink Reviews on the TYT Network.